We are back with Robin Reiser. Listen, part one was so good, and I think we left off in a great spot, but I just didn't want anybody to feel like, and then you lived happily ever after, and rehab was great. And like, that's not
Yeah,
how it went down. So tell us how it went
no.
down.
I mean, I was super angry in rehab. The first week was a what they call a eval, where they basically, and this was tough love at that time. Like they really were. They weren't. Nobody was trauma informed or anything. Like nobody tried to be nice to you through this, and so they were just like, if I cried, they were like, "You're not crying. You're if you." They were just like the whole time, everything you said, they were like, "You are so full of shit." Everything we said. And then the counselor read my diary out loud to the group. It was, I mean, not the whole thing, but just like a passage. And I was like, that would never happen now. That would never happen. But yeah, I was really pissed. And, we
Was
try to do,
anybody nice to you? Because that seems so
yes.
counterintuitive.
Yeah, nobody was nice to me until I got to the unit. And I had tried really hard to convince them that I had schizophrenia. I was convinced that I had schizophrenia. So when they didn't put me on a unit for dual diagnosis, so I was only going for chemical dependency and not for mental illness too, I really argued with them. I was like, you need to put me on meds. I need psychiatric drugs. I need something to stop my hallucinations. And they're like, how many hallucinations have you had since you've been here? And I was like, none. And they're like, do you think perhaps your hallucinations have more to do with the drugs you're doing? The psychedelics that you're doing than you being actually schizophrenic. And I was like, I don't think so. Like, LSD would never do that to me. She's my friend. Like, she would never make monsters come out of the wall and attack me. Anyway, so when I finally got to the unit, this one counselor, Bob, sat me down in his office and he talked to me with such tenderness and empathy that I couldn't believe anybody was being so kind. Like it was after, I mean, I was in trouble. I was in trouble. I was a bad kid. I had broken all the rules. I had lied to my parents. I had done everything wrong that I wasn't supposed to do. I had ruined everything. And I was in a rehab where they were treated me like shit. And I was like a criminal. And then I go in and there's this counselor and he just was so compassionate and kind. And it just broke me down. And he wasn't at all judgmental about doing drugs at all. Like he talked about drugs and he had a conversation with me about drugs, like somebody who also likes drugs, which was important to me because it's important I mean, it's one of the reasons why the only thing that helps alcoholics or people with a chemical dependency is other people with those problems, because you have to know what it feels like in order to really help a person. We don't want to be judged and we don't want to be told in an intellectual way what we need. We need to be told from somebody who's been there. And all of the counselors in my rehab were all sober addicts and alcoholics, which was really significant. And that counselor worked hard on me to get me to see the connection between my consequences and my alcoholism, like the drinking and the drugs. Like he kept very patiently, week after week, he would have me write and write, like, these are the consequences. This is what happened. What are all the bad things that happened in the last few years? Everything, write it all down. And like, do you see how that is because you were drinking? Do you see that is because you couldn't stop doing drugs? Like, do you see that? And I could not really see it. I mean, that's amazing. Like, from somebody who's not in that position to be like, duh, of course, but I could not really make the connection. Um, and then you were asking me to tell this part about how it like it slowly dawned on me, like he just kept saying it. And also other people had to do that themselves too. So I watched my peers go through this experience and being like, yeah, the reason why you crashed a car and hit a kid on a bike is because you were a drunk idiot and they'd like not see it. So you knew like you were just as stupid. And it just like slowly dawned on me in this one session. And it felt like this guy like lifted up like a garage door, like a big warehouse door, and suddenly all this light just came flooding in at me. And I was like, oh, that's the reason like all these things happen. Like I could see everything with the like stupid shit with the boys and all my behavior, and every little thing was just a domino effect from my having to commit, how committed I was to doing drugs and alcohol, and like how much I had to do it. And it was like after that I saw like I am powerless, and that is why this has all happened. Like I could see my powerlessness, and I could see that I was um that I had no choice. Like I had no choice, but if I wanted to have any kind of a life that that wasn't just full of pain and sorrow, that I had to stop. And that's
I
how it
wonder,
happened.
did you, I feel like as a teenager, was there a part of you, if you remember, that was like, but how come I have to be here, but like all my other friends drank and used drugs the same way I did? Like,
Yeah.
why me? Because I feel like it would be very
Yes.
hard to accept that you are, whatever, biologically, chemically different than some of your friends. And that's not to say that some of your friends didn't end up
I
having
know.
addiction, but right. But it is like, I remember thinking that even as a kid myself, of just like, why am I the one who has such a bad hangover? Like all
Yeah.
my friends were drinking how I was.
Yeah, I always felt like that. But I felt like that while, right, I felt like that while it was happening too. Like, why am I the one that's smoking pot and being, and going into like becoming psycho and hallucinating? Why am I the one that can't handle anything? Why am I the one that's being victimized? Why is it me? Like I had already come so far in my like feeling like why me, that like then being like told, yeah, this is why like they're not the same. And it sucks. Like, but it also became like all that work on acceptance, then became the work on like accepting well, this is the deal, right? Like kind of in the scheme of things, if you're going to get a chronic illness, this is not a bad one to have. Like you're here, you can treat it, and you the only thing you have to do is stay sober and, you know, be active in a 12-step program. That's not that bad of a prognosis for your life, right? And then the other thing that because I was like, how am I ever going to go to prom if I'm not going to drink and do cocaine? Like, it's just like,
Which, but
nobody does that. Nobody's sober and not on coke at the prom. Like, it was like, what? And they were like,
But we all do
they,
that at whatever age you get sober.
yeah,
You go, how am
exactly.
I going to go on my honeymoon? And, how
Exactly.
am I going to? And then your person who helps you in your program goes, are you going on your honeymoon today?
Today, right.
Now,
No.
how long were you? How long was your rehab stay?
My rehab stay was 35 days.
That's it?
And then I went to a halfway house for 4 months after that in Minnesota. So I
In
lived
Minnesota, though.
Yeah, I lived in Minnesota and I lived in a house with a bunch of other addicts and I had therapy in the house and group in the house and I went and took the school bus to a high school in Minnesota while I was there.
Wow, with the other
With
addicts.
there was like it was 16 to 25 in that house. So I was one of
Oh,
the younger people.
okay. So that's like almost 6 months altogether.
Yeah.
5.5
Yeah, yeah,
months
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
stay
yeah. Yeah.
that you were gone.
Yeah.
Okay, but tell me also about before we finish rehab, but like there were some parent days. There were
Oh my God, the parent days were so bad. I mean, parent week was hell. It was like a horror story. It was a horror movie. It's just a horror. I was like, it's like, yeah, you spend all this time growing and changing, and you want like your parents to be like, I see that you've grown and changed, and now I love you, and I know it hurt. But instead, they come in with their own pain and their own desire to show you and teach you a lesson, and who can blame them? And so the whole thing, even though they try to make it fair and they try to be like, well, tell us about how your parents could have done better, it doesn't matter because it's still like, yeah, but you you're the it's so funny because like in that family dynamic thing that we learn about where you have like the alcoholic and the alcoholic family, there's the alcoholic and the scapegoat and the hero and all these different roles. It if you're the alcoholic while you're active, as long as you're active, you're like all you're focused on is maintaining your addiction and maintaining what you that's your focus, like is to get drugs and alcohol, to get drunk, to get wasted, to keep that cycle going. You don't think about everybody else. But as soon as you're clean and you have no tools and you're completely raw and you have like no ability to escape reality anymore. They're like, here are our feelings. And it's just like you're being attacked with darts, you know? It's just like, here are our feelings and how you ruined everything and how it's like you have to accept it. Like it's part of what's kept me sober is like that I never want to put anybody through like that's what I did when I was just hurting myself is I hurt people that much when I was just hurting myself, you know? And so, oh,
But
but it's hard.
did you also feel a little bit like I'm not trying to let you off the hook, but I'm saying like did you feel a little bit like but you didn't even know any of that until you read my diary.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
were guys were fine.
Right. You guys didn't even know. Well, I mean, yeah. I was good at lying. Do you guys, let's clear one thing up. I had you guys snowed, okay?
Right, right. You're
Don't be all, oh, we were worried about you. You had no idea. You had no idea what was going on. Yeah, totally.
okay, but so now you're presented with all of this like, oh my God, you really hurt us and you feel like shit. You probably had to have some therapy to deal with when they left.
Oh my God. I mean, it just was like, it's such a long, it's a recovery. It's just a process, you know? It's just,
Were you
yeah,
upset that they made you go to the halfway house? Was there any part of you
no,
that was like, why
no,
are you keeping me away? No, you were
no.
glad?
I never wanted to go back.
Oh,
I never wanted to go back. I was so scared of leaving rehab. I like if they had been like, "Would you like to stay here?" And like, "We'll give you a job and you can just stay here." I would have been like, "Yup." Like I got real high functioning in the rehab. Like I knew how to do all the things, I knew all the rules, I knew my jobs, I knew everybody's name. I had that place dialed, and I did not want to leave. And I felt very safe there. And I could not even fathom going home yet. So I had to go to the next safe place, which
oh,
was the halfway house.
so then what happened? So then you're at this halfway house, you're going to school in Minnesota with regular people.
Can we
Okay.
take a timeout for a
Yeah.
second?
Yeah.
Pause.
I'm just gonna
You
put stuff in the dryer.
don't put it in the dryer while I'm on the thing though.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and talk.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna go pick Sullivan up soon.
Yeah, we got to go in
Okay, you
20
finish your thing.
minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Um, so what was your
I
question?
was asking you, so then it's time to leave. So you're in a high school, like a regular high school,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
like a sober high school.
No. I
But
tried to
but
get
you
everybody. I found all the stoners and tried to I was like a missionary. Yeah. I was a mission. I was like,
spread
maybe
the
you
good
guys have
word.
pro yeah, I was just like, have you have you heard about the 12 steps? Yeah, I was have you heard the good news about the about Bob Wilson? Yeah, I was they were just like, dude, what? Like
I
not
would imagine because this is how I would have been since I was like this in my 30s at the improv. I would have just been like, "Oh my God, you're from the rehab? You're a
yeah, they
rehab? You actually live in New York, but you're like sober?"
yeah. Yeah. Oh, and there was other things too. Like they were Minnesota kids. They were so sweet. And I had no filter anymore. So I remember like I would have anxiety attacks and I would curse and stuff. And people were like, oh, who is she? And then someone would say, she's from New York. And they'd be like, oh, okay. Okay. Like I would just like flip out and,
Uh-huh.
and be like, oh, I'd have to go walk the hallways and like be just cursing and muttering under my breath. I was such a weirdo. But yeah,
Oh my
this
God.
weirdo from New York.
Okay, so you get back.
From
They
re
send
from
you on a plane. Did your parents come get you and escort you back, or they're just like waiting for you at the airport? Like
I believe they just waited for me at they were really tired of spending money on me. They were really
it's like college.
it was so I mean, I'm sure that I know that some was taken care of through insurance, but the fact that I was like, and I want to keep going, they were like, no, no, no.
You're
Um,
fine. You
yeah,
seem so much better.
you're great. But yeah, and then I didn't want to return to my high school. So they had to send me to a private school. Which,
Oh,
by the way, I should let all the parents know that if have a kid in public school and they cannot safely return to their public school, that public school needs, they can, your parents can prove that the public school cannot provide safety for them and they will pay, the state will pay for your kid to go to private school. So just as an FYI, my parents could have saved some money had we known that. But yeah, I could not return to my public school. Um, I would have had to have come out though with the gory details of the ways in which the students there hurt me, and I think that that would have been too hard for me at that time. So it is what it is. But I went to a private school far away.
oh, really?
I
Like
had
in
to take
another
the train
town?
there. Yeah. Yeah, like a 40-minute train ride away every
So at
morning.
this point, are you like a junior in high school, a
I was a
senior?
junior. I was a junior in
So
high
you had
school.
another 2 years to go.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
this whole thing happened. You were only like a sophomore in high school.
I was a junior in high school. I
Okay.
missed like half a junior year
Okay. So
to do
then
this.
did the rest of junior year at this private school and then senior year. And can you tell me a little bit about like what, the afterwards, like having to be
So
sober as a young girl?
it was um
How did it
the thing
stick?
I had to find community. I had to find other sober young people. And I did that through, they have meetings just for young people in various 12-step programs. And that was how I found community. I was t terrified of, I had no social skills anymore. I didn't know how to like go up and say hello to people, or it was so raw and I was so scared and I was so lonely and desperate. And I, I luckily, there were young people at the meeting that I went to, and I had this one girl who looked like a freak, like a punk, like a freak with like she had a big green mohawk, and I was a hippie, and I was like, I don't associate with meth heads. was basically kind of my, I don't, and she was just like, I'm a deadhead. And I was like, no, you're not. And she's like, I've been to 35 shows. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I like became really good friends with her. And she basically was like, you're not going to make it if you don't start making friends. If you don't start socializing, you're not going to make it. You cannot survive and isolate. Like it's not going to work. And I heeded that message and I learned how to, you know, get along in the world and make friends and be a human without any aid from any substances. And I even went to high school. I mean, I even went to college.
So you went to, where did you go to college?
Manhattanville in New
Okay.
York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all this time, like during that time, you're sober, no relapses.
No
Were there
relapses.
any times that you came close that you were just like, I mean, when you turned 21, were you like, okay, like enough with this? Like, I wasn't even of drinking age. It's just such a
No, I know,
unique,
never a legal drink. I think there's literally uh young people's meetings called Never a Legal Drink. Yeah. Um, I it's never was like, oh, I'm 21 now, I should be allowed to drink. It's just more like it catches me off guard and I'm like, oh, I just wanna relax or be normal or have that like, I want to just goof off and be able to easily let go of everything or just take that edge off or all those things that normal people do with a simple glass of wine, get a little rosy, get a little bubble in you, I just want that's the thing that attracts me. I'm never attracted to like being obliterated or, you know, um, even all the drugs, well, some of them sound pretty good, but like it's just like that's what I think I get jealous of is that kind of like that ease. I have to manufacture that with
because we have dis-ease,
we have disease. Yeah,
dis-ease.
I have disease.
It doesn't work. Here's the thing though, when I think, because I have that too, of course,
Yeah,
and having stopped way later than you, I can tell you that, I spent so many years trying to have that thing that it's like a fantasy of I'm going to have a glass of wine and I'm just going to get to feel relaxed. If a glass of wine made people feel relaxed, everybody would be having wine every single day, like through it just doesn't quite work that way.
no,
There's a real problem finding that balance because you have people like us, and I don't care how long it's been since you've drank, you have the thing. People like us would have a glass of wine and then we would go, okay, I feel a little bit better. So now what I need to do is like have a second glass to just make
get
sure, just make
yeah,
sure
just
I feel better
yeah,
because I'm not sure I'm
yeah.
feeling it yet. So then we
And
go
I
to
don't want it to run out, so I need to have another one.
right. Or
Yeah.
at least one
No,
filled up that I'm gonna for sure sip on this one though, because I feel pretty
no,
good.
no,
So I'm
I'm
just gonna
there.
like, yeah, I'm there. So I'm just gonna keep drinking a little bit. And then all of a sudden you're drunk and hungover.
Yeah, I had
That was
all
my whole
kinds of
life.
recipes. Yeah, right. Right. We all had our ways. It's all finagling. Like, how can I make this work for me? Like, it
But
doesn't
so
work.
that's what I'm saying. That fantasy of like, this is what I know to be true because I did try to moderate for so long before I actually quit. I really was just like, I am going to be able to be a person who just has a glass of wine to take the edge off. I worked really hard at it and it
Yeah,
did not work because I could not. Once my brain had a little bit, it was doing a different thing. It was
right.
doing the more calculations. It was like, no, you feel good, you want to feel better. And there's no possible way that I could control it or tell myself, like, no, you've had too much, and here's what happens when you have more. For me, it will always be none or all.
Yeah.
And it was only through sobriety that I was able to actually see that clearly in myself, and that's how I am with a lot of things. and that I'm not happy when I'm having
Brie.
one. I'm not brie cheese. Oh my God. I can't have one
I
and
know. I
feel
remember you telling me,
satisfied.
no, you will eat a whole block of brie cheese. I remember you telling me that one time and me being like, Stephanie, one day you'll find the rooms.
And I'm so like, it's been 16 years for me and
Oh my God.
16 years. Yeah, it was 16 years in May. So like almost 16 and a half years. And I figured it out a long time ago, probably a year in that like, oh yeah, this is where I belong. But that thought that you have is I think about like if I could just have a little bit of that special feeling that alcohol
Yeah.
gives us. I just think that for anybody listening to this is the goal for all of us. And some of us listening, some of us who just love somebody who has an issue, it's just this fantasy because I don't think that that is a real thing. I don't think that there's a real possibility of
No,
enjoying a glass of wine and feeling a little bit like lightheaded and like joyful. And
no.
I have realized if I allow myself to see it a little bit differently, that I do have those moments. I have them all the time. I do have moments where I feel profoundly relaxed or happy or joyful or like spiritual, even. They don't come from alcohol. But
Right.
I have to tell you, I feel more of them sober than I ever did when I was doing the math all the time and
Yes.
trying to
Yes.
bargain with myself. I don't remember too many
Absolutely.
times of being like, oh my God, this is so perfect. I feel so perfect right now. But I can tell you, I have like moments like that a lot with no
Very true.
alcohol,
I 100% agree. 100%. Yes.
especially
Yes,
if
yes,
I'm like
yes.
having a dental procedure and I'm having like nitrous oxide. Like that's,
Right.
no, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm
I
just
can't
saying I have, but don't you
I
ever
can't
notice? You're just like, oh my God, I feel so happy right now. I'm doing something
Yes,
I love
and
doing.
the thing is that you then it's just a genuine true feeling and it's from your own self, and that and and trying to ignore life or avoid life is like now from my vantage point, I can't believe that I would ever want to avoid it. Like I lost my dad last year and I can't imagine like wanting to escape my grief because like trying to avoid grief, even though that was like it's like my biggest fear. And I was like, but I'd want to feel the loss. Like I want to live as a person and have all the colors and emotions and not just run away and have one, you know, the one goal, the fantasy, like just fantasize, like I can feel this way and get there. I love that you said that it's a fantasy that we're never gonna achieve because I don't remember really. Yeah, very fleeting when you have it like that.
And I think that people think that, oh, well, if you're feeling pain or grief and you have some alcohol, that will give you access to it, but it doesn't. I think that's a
No.
fantasy too. You might cry and act really emotional about it, but I think that's different than actually feeling real feelings about it.
Yeah, we all cried when we were drunk. Crying is not, it's not real crying.
Or we'd all just
A
be hammered
drunk,
in therapy, you know?
ah! Drunk crying. I still love you so much.
And your therapist would be like, I feel like you made some really good connections like last week in our
Yes,
session. You'd be like,
there's,
oh my God, I hope you wrote
I,
them down because I don't
because I
remember.
don't remember them. I don't remember them at all.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So, okay, let's wrap. But
Okay,
like
let's
before
wrap.
you go, do you have any advice? And I know we kind of started off yesterday's episode this way, but do you have any advice for parents in recognizing like signs in their kids that their kids drinking is not like other kids drinking? If not, that's okay. I'm not
No,
like,
I think this is what I would say about it is that if there was anything that my parents could have done differently, is that they really made a hard line between what I was allowed to do, and they did it really early on. So it was like, absolutely, they were so out of touch about drugs. They were so out of touch with my life. it became really easy to lie to them. And my mom started getting suspicious because moms are pretty instinctual, and but I would use the fact that my dad was more of a soft touch. I would pit them against each other. And I think that if your kid, I think that if anyone is suspicious, you should really look into that. If you're suspicious, then look into it. And then, you know, I like, again, it's like, when is the right time for rehab? When is the right time for intervention? It's gonna vary and it's from person to person. And I just happen to be on the receiving end of a lot of drama really fast. But I do think that a lot of kids don't continue on that way. But I think that being open and honest about it is probably the best thing. Like, we see you're doing this. If you find it to be hard or bad, like, please talk to us. Like, you're not going to get in trouble. We're not going to. I think that that's the best thing, to be that
That's great
compassionate
advice.
person. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a kid at that place. Um, so, but I worry about it all the time. He has two alcoholic parents. I'm like, dude, you're set up for success.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know my kids have one, but I got my eye on them, you know?
Yeah,
It has been so good. Where can we find you, your writing? I know you're working on a book and I'm hoping it sells soon because
I hope
I'm going
so
to be the
too.
first person to buy it. Um, but
Thank you.
you're sending that out right now. Do you have a Substack? Do you have like
I,
let's get you
I,
some Instagram followers.
I don't have a Substack. I'm at Robin Reiser on all the things. Robin Reiser, ROBINREISER. I have some writing out there. Um, yeah, I have what is it called? Medium that I haven't been to in a long time.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah,
medium.com.
medium.com.
Is it just under your name?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, and if you're in Connecticut, I've been writing and performing in plays in Connecticut
That's so
and having a
cool.
blast. So, yeah, yeah, so hopefully this book will come out soon. It's a new way. I think it's a new story of this story, but like, it's not told this way yet. Not been told this way yet, I guess.
Yes, your perspective, because it'll be a while till it comes out, but is through yourself as a 16-year-old, and it is so good. Oh my God, you
My
guys. It's
16-year-old self has a lot to say about things. So, yeah,
yes,
yeah, she
yes.
wrote the book. The adult Robin looking back at herself was not a good book, but the 16-year-old Robin telling her story, that was the book.
I
So,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
Okay, thanks again. Thanks for sharing your
I love you,
story.
Stephanie. I'm
Okay,
so
love you
glad you're
too.
doing this.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Life is good, life is good, yeah. Life is good.